How are you all out there? Hope you're all okay. It's, I'll never remember the name. I've got to come up with a good name for tonight, but it's Request Live Tuesday anyway. So we're just going to wait for a couple of people to come on and then we'll start. So I don't know if you want to forward, I don't know, by a couple of minutes while I just wait for people to come and then we'll start with the story. That's up to you. Or you can stay. Why aren't you on the live with us? If you'd like to join my Patreon, it's patreon.com/JessRose5472. I don't know if the lowercase and uppercase matter, but the J in the Jess and the R in the Rose are capitals. Don't think it matters though. So yeah, that'd be great if you could have a look, or if you could just join us, or like, comment and subscribe on the channel. That'd be great. I'm just gonna fix it. It looks a little bit wonky. Hey sis, how are we? There we go, just fixing it. How are ya? It's Tuesday, it's Request Live Tuesday, and it's a Tiff special tonight. Hey Hayley, how are you? How's it going? It's hey Kelly, how are you? How's your little girl? How's she doing? She feeling any better? Hope so. Hi Phil, how are we? Request Live Tuesday. Woohoo! It's Tiff's night tonight, so, and she's made my job very difficult, I will say. That's what I'm going to say about this one. Very, very difficult, but I'll explain that in a second. Bit of a harder one tonight, not because of the content, but finding the content. It's been a nightmare, but I've done my best. I think the camera's about to drop. Oh, that's a good start. That's a good start, isn't it? I could just see it out the corner of my eye. Genuinely got to get a new setup. If anyone's watching tomorrow, join my Patreon so I can get a new setup with her. I'm joking. I am joking. That is a joke. Oh, come on. 1 second, everyone. There we go. I think I've got it. You start seeing me start to come towards you. It's messed up again. So they want to run more tests. Oh, she's still got the cough. I did get mine to the doctors on Friday. She did have some crackling in her chest, so she's on antibiotics, but I've got to admit, the antibiotics run out on, she'll finish them tomorrow night. She's just as bad. So, oh God, how's her eyes, Kelly? Are her eyes any better? Because her eyes, it just looks so, she's such a pretty girl though, but her eyes look so sore. Yeah, it's pants what's going around. It's hitting the kids quite hard though, I will say. It does seem to be hitting the kids quite badly, which is sad, because we can handle it, they can't. It's a shame, although they do tend to bounce back quicker than us. So but yeah, this story tonight, the unsettling story of Amarjeet Sada. Now, I don't know if I've done the perpetrator in my lives, but what I tend to do, if the name on the title is the victim in the story, I'll always put it as their story. If they're the perpetrator, I'll always put it as story of. It's just saying it's their story, it doesn't do. I don't like that. Okay. Renee, a couple of days ago. Oh, that's awful. And the schools don't. I bet the schools have been going in. Hi, Natalie. You okay? Yeah, I bet the schools have it. I mean, I don't know. I'm just going on about the schools here. If the schools been supportive, because I know they're quite hard here. Couple of days and they're hunting you down. So just like they're not giving you any stick either, because it's bad enough when your child's sick without them coming at you as well. But Oh, I really hope she gets better soon. I really do. Just awful, awful. Right, okay. Like I say, this story, Amarjeet Sada, it's Tiffany's request. So it's Tiffany's live this evening. I haven't had any other requests from you all. And I think Natalie, I believe, if I'm not wrong, your one I haven't done a request for. So if you've already sent me one, I apologise. Could resend it me again. And if you haven't, come on, it's your turn next week. But tonight, it's Tiffany's live. And like I say, she's chose the most. It's brutal, but it was so hard to find information on this case. And there's so many contradicting bits of information on it. It's crazy. Right, Mitzi's kicking off outside, so bear with me 1 second. Hi, Charlotte. Sun goes down, I ready for the clocks to go. The clocks do go forward soon, bear with me. 1 second. Come on. What are you doing? You want to come and say hello? Here, come and say hello. Here she is, our little mascot. Here she is. Hey, Mum. How you doing? Mum, it's just come. Literally, as I was about to go live, I would have messaged you afterwards, but it's come. Haven't opened yet. Just letting you know. I've said hi to Charlotte, and Mitzi's here, mascot. So, Jamie Stoy's the one I wanted you to do. Natalie, do me a favour. At the end, Kelly, look at you starting already. Send that to me in a comment afterwards if you don't mind, because I've got a head like a sieve, and I'll remember it for the whole story, and then I'll be baffled afterwards trying to find it. So, no, I wasn't quite live, Mum. It's okay. I wasn't quite live, but yes, it's here. Thank you so much. I'll show him after. Or I might hold it till tomorrow, Mum. I might hold it and surprise him tomorrow. But yeah, here we go. Here we go. The unsettling story of Amarjeet Sada. And like I say, thanks. And no banjos tonight either, Kelly. No banjos. Look, okay, before we start, if you're watching tomorrow, please bear with me just for about a minute or so. Okay, we've had a couple of glitches, let's say, on our last couple of lives. Now, I don't know if we're going to be joined this evening. I do hope Warwick joins us, but I don't know if a certain other young member of our group will join us this evening. If she does, obviously she will be welcome back, as we would, as you know, as I would with anyone. But any what's the word I'm looking for? Anyone's been made to feel uncomfortable, let's just say that, on the group, we may look at not having that person in our lives. I don't mean in our lives as in, but you know, in these lives, it's just we've got a nice group. You know, I want people to feel comfortable joining in on the lives, and I 100% want everyone who's been a subscriber and been in every single live and joined me with all these stories. I don't want anyone being made to feel uncomfortable by basically someone who can't take a joke that wasn't actually, it wasn't even really a joke, let's face it. It was just a comment, and you know, she took offense, and I'm not gonna, and like I say, on Thursday I didn't actually see the comments until quite near the end. So I made a reference to something she'd said, thinking it was the first comment she'd put. And by making the comment I made with, go on, she's out swinging and come on. It without me realising, made someone feel uncomfortable, and I didn't know that she'd been at it all through the comments. I didn't realise, I didn't know. So, obviously, Warwick, if you are watching, please join us. You know, you're part of the group. You know, I'm sorry you were made to feel that way. And yeah, if it continues from our little pal, then we're gonna have to move. All right. Oh, she's here. He's here. Yay! How you do? How are you, dudette? I'm glad you're here, and I'm glad you haven't been put off completely, because it just wouldn't be fair. It wouldn't be fair at all. So I know what I'm meaning to say, but it's also very hard because these stories do go up tomorrow, so I've got to be very careful what I say. But yeah, I'm genuinely not going to put up with someone making other group members feel uncomfortable. I'm just not going to do that. And if it's to the point where, you know, they're claiming victimhood, let's face it, and then attacking other people, that's crazy to me. It's crazy. So no, we're not going to put up with that on this group. We're a fun group who listen to really dark cases, and you know, it keeps it a bit lighter, and I'm not having that. So let's move on. It's I'll say it again, the unsettling story of Amarjeet Sada. Yeah, it's Tiff's story, and she's made it really difficult for me to know. So it doesn't surprise me. I wouldn't expect any less. So the information I'm going to bring to you is from a lot of different sources, a lot of them. But if you've heard, and I'm saying something, you're like, hang on, Jess, I haven't heard that, please let me know. Yes, okay, I'll forgive you. Please let me know. Because like I say, there's so much different contradicting information on this. But I'm going to bring you everything I've heard. And like I say, if anything's wrong, if you recognise it on the live tonight, or you're watching this story at a later time, please let me know, because maybe I just haven't come. Kelly, it's happening again. It's happening again already. I think that's why I was getting so flustered a minute ago. It times it. It absolutely times it. Do you know what I need to do? Look at this. Look at this. What is this? What is this? I don't even know if it's helping. It's ridiculous. I must look like a plonker, but I've got to try and, yeah, bring it down. It'll stop in a second. Okay. Right. Okay, let's go. Now, Amarjeet, right? I am flapping. There's a lot of, even his age. I've got his age being, or his birth being around 1998. It's so, the pinpointing dates and stuff was so difficult. But I've got his date of, or year of birth as 1998. Okay. Now this, I'm not going to call him. I was about to call him Jack. This little man, let's say, was born in Begusarai in Bihar, India. That's where he was born. And his dad was a labourer. It was a very poor village that he was born into. A very much working class family. Would you say lower class? It was a very, they didn't have a lot of money at all. So with regards to, they had enough for food. What the dad was working, they could be fed, and they lived in quite a very, I wouldn't say a hut, but it, you know, they came from very, why can I not find the word. Um, um, just poor. I don't know how else to word it, but a very happy community. Okay, I was trying to think of a different word to use, but that is what he was born into. Okay. Now we'll get to 2006, just before he turned 8, so he's still 7 at this point. Haven't got much information on his early years, other than impoverished. God, thank you. Wow, could not think of that word. Yes, certainly very impoverished early start, and the village was quite impoverished too. Like I say, nothing really from his early years. Other than this lad, he was quite reserved, but the kids that he used to play with would say he could be a little bit spiteful. Amarjeet could. He could be a little bit um vicious, would pinch, just not. He'd play with them all, but he kind of steal their stuff. Not that they had anything, but he was just, yeah, he was always kind of up to no good, this young fella. But it was just seen as, just a young, mischievous, boisterous lad. It wasn't seen as anything to be concerned about. So when he was 7, his family welcomed, again, I've seen that it's a 4th child into the family, which is a little girl. That's what I've seen. Then elsewhere, I've seen that he had a load of siblings. So it's really hard. It's really hard. But the family, the Sada family, welcomed a little girl into the family. And because the dad was having trouble, feeding everyone, or earning enough to feed everyone, they moved to a place called Maharsha. Again, I believe it's in Bihar in India, but it's like it's another village. Okay. So he moves them all there, where he wouldn't have earned much more. Don't get me wrong, he wasn't gonna turn out and millions, but it was just so he could better provide for his family. So the dad moved them all to this other village. Wow. Within this village was a lot of the extended Sada family. So aunts, uncles, cousins, and all the kids. I mean, there was a lot of kids in this village. So they all just used to, morning till night, just used to play out, which the mums who had a lot of kids, and if they had young babies like Amarjeet's mum did, of course, you'd be grateful. You'd be like, yeah, go play with your friends. Go and play with your cousins. So that's how it was. There was a lot of kids around there. And again, some of the kids did say that Amarjeet, although he was quiet and a little bit reserved, a little bit introverted, he had a little bit of a nasty streak in him. So, they used to give him a bit of a wide berth. He'd still be able to play with them, but they'd watch him. So, okay, now there's going to be a little bit of a swap and change here, but bear with me, there is a reason behind it, okay? So, we go from 2006, we're going to go to 2007 now, all right? Now, there was a woman called Chun Devi, right? Obviously not part of the Sada family or extended family, but she lived in the village. So she needed to do a bit of shopping, and she had a very young baby. This baby was about 6 months old, okay? And it said, again, there's different reports on what she was doing. She had to go shopping, or she needed to get on with her housework. So many different versions of what Chun Chun was doing. But she decided to leave her little girl, who was called Kushbu Devi, right? This is the baby's name. And she decided to leave her in the village primary school just somewhere she thought she'd be safe, while she went and ran some errands, or she was getting on with her housework. Like I say, many different versions of what she was doing. But apparently it wasn't unusual for this to happen. So she drops off a little girl and she goes about doing what she was doing. Okay. She comes back to collect her child and to get her from where she'd left her at the local primary school. And when she walks in, her baby's not there. And she starts asking people at the school, look, have you seen Kushbu? The child can't get up and walk. She's 6 months old. Where's my baby? And everyone's shrugging their shoulders. They don't know what she's talking about. They're like, I don't know. So she's starting to panic now, as you would. The heart's in her chest. She goes out into the village and she's like, look, Kushbu, I can't find her. Where is she? She happens to come up to a member of the extended Sada family. And this woman says to her, look, I don't know, but I think I might know where Kushbu is. And it's very ominous. And the Chun Chun's like, take me, tell me where my child is. Where, what are you talking about? So this member, who I haven't got the name of, I haven't been able to find the name of, but this member of the family takes Chun Chun to the Sada home where they live, and also where all these kids are playing. And she goes, right, hang on a second. And she calls a lad over who's playing with all these kids. The lad she calls over is Amarjeet. Okay. Calls him over. He's just been running around with all his pals, all his cousins, all his family members. He comes running along. Now, let me just tell you about this boy. He's, at this point, he would have been 8 years old. He looks to me, my kids are quite big, but he looks to me a small 8-year-old. He's quite slim, quite gaunt in the face. And yeah, just completely, he wouldn't stand out, let's just say that. So he comes running over, and this family member, again, looks like, don't know who she is, and Mrs. Chun Chun, Kushbu's mom, they ask him, have you seen Kushbu? Have you seen a baby? And he just smiles at them. It's one thing about this boy, he smiles a lot. He doesn't talk a lot. He just smiles. I've seen the smile. Now, knowing what I know, let me keep going. He just smiles anyway. So they're panicking and they're like, have you seen Kushbu? And it doesn't take him a second. He go, yeah, I have. So he's not really saying much. The next thing you know, the police are called and they come into the village and they approach him and they're like, have you seen this child? And he's like, yeah, I killed her. And everyone stops and they're like, he's 8 years old. Let's remember, let's not forget his age. He's 8 years old. So, yeah, I killed her. She's dead. Police are very confused. Chun Chun's beside herself, but she's struggling to believe that this is the truth. So the police take Amarjeet away and they bring him to the police station. They sit him down and they say, we need you to tell us the truth. And he says, I tell you what, if you get me a packet of biscuits, I'll tell you the truth. And they're like, okay. So they give him these biscuits. And while he sat there munching on his biscuits, he starts to tell them what happened. Now, he goes back to earlier on that day when he's walking through the village and he hears a baby crying. He hears it coming from the school. And when he goes in, he sees Kushbu crying and screaming on her own. And he looks around and there's no one around. There's no mom, there's no anyone, no adult. So he thinks, okay. So he picks Kushbu up. He takes her to a wooded area just outside the village. She's 6 months old. He's 8 years old. And he begins to strangle her. That's what he starts to do. But he explains to the police that he wasn't really getting out of it what he wanted. He wasn't getting a reaction out of her. She was just crying. Apparently he wasn't getting the fear in her eyes that he wanted. Why? So he brings her basically to the brink of death by strangling her. And then he grabs a rock and he sets about hitting this child, this baby, in the head over and over again with this rock until she was dead. And then he digs a very shallow grave and he puts her into it. And when he'd finished telling the police this story, although it was so in depth, they couldn't believe that a child had come up with this. But they didn't believe him. He's 8 years old. So they're like, well, show us where she is. And he does. He takes the police to the little wooded area where he'd taken Kushbu, and he digs up the very shallow grave that he dug for her, and there she is with the injuries that he described. And the police are absolutely mortified. They're mortified. Look, this is an 8-year-old child. How has this come about? So you might be asking yourself, well, hang on a minute. What about that family member? That family member who, when she saw Chun Chun looking around for Kushbu, and all of a sudden, she's like, I think I know who's done it. You might be thinking, how would she know? How would she automatically come up out of all the kids anyway? Like, she wasn't looking at an adult, but she pinpointed one child out of a group of kids playing. She might be like, how has that happened? Well, let me tell you. Okay. We're going to go back to 2006 now, just for a second, right? So remember I said the family had moved to try and make a little bit of a better life for themselves, making it easier for Amarjeet's dad to feed the family. They were also around a lot of extended family. It just made sense for them to move there. Remember, I said Amarjeet's mom had given birth to his little sister. Okay. Right. So she'd done that. But shortly after his sister was born, a aunt of the family So it would have been Amarjeet's dad's brother, so Amarjeet's uncle's wife. She comes to the house and she says she's got, now again, there's different reports. There's a little girl, okay? The reports give this girl's age as going anywhere from 1 to 6 years old, okay? I've heard more reports that she's 6. So the only reason I question that is because Amarjeet himself at this point is 7, and he's a very slight, thin built boy. So the age of this particular child I'm about to talk about is questioned. But if we say we'll go with the majority that she's 6 years old, this is Amarjeet's cousin, and Amarjeet's auntie has asked his mum, can you watch her for a bit while I get on with errands? Okay. So that's the mum that's asked that. So Amarjeet's mum herself says to Amarjeet, take her out and go and play. Okay. When she calls them in, when Amarjeet's aunt has come back to collect her daughter, Amarjeet's mum's like, where is she? I haven't got a name, so I hate saying she, but there's no name. Where is she? And he's like, wow, I killed her. Just like that. Just like that. And they were, what? I killed her. And he began to describe a very similar story to what I've just told you about Cushbu. And he says that he'd got his cousin to go to a field with him, like an open field near the village, and he began to strangle her. And when she began to fight him and try and struggle and scream, he just strangled harder. And when he got her literally to the brink of death, he then stopped, got a rock, and proceeded to cave in her head over and over again. Now this is now what he's telling his immediate family and his extended family, because by now his uncle, the dad's brother, has come in and found out that this, his nephew, this is what he's done to his daughter. Do you know what they all decide to do? We're going to keep it quiet. We're going to keep it in the family. That's what we're going to do. We're not going to tell anybody. We're just going to keep it quiet and we're going to move on. Now, it's said that Amarjeet was punished. We don't know what the punishment consisted of or what it was. We don't know. But apparently he was punished. Naughty boy. And it was explained to him because he was 7 at this point, and the family decided that given the fact that he was smiling, he was actually smiling while he's telling the story. So they had come to the conclusion that he hadn't, he didn't realise what he'd done. He didn't understand the consequences of what he'd done. That's what they had come up with as a family. He didn't quite get it. So he was punished and he was told, don't do it again. and off you pop. I mean, I don't know, but, you know, what was the punishment? So then we come to about 6 months after this, right? And Amarjeet's mom had to nip out to run some errands. And you want to know who she asked to watch his baby sister? She asked Amarjeet to watch his baby sister. The same boy who caved in his own cousin's head 6 months previous. That's what she asked him to do. Baby was asleep, just watch his sister. Wow. Okay. So when mum comes back from her errands, his sister's not there. Neither is Amarjeet. Straight away, she's panicking. Really? Are you? She starts panicking. She runs and gets his dad. You know, they're missing. Next thing you know, Amarjeet comes skipping home. Big smile on his face. Parents, where's your sister? Where is she? She's dead. I killed her. And again, there's a big family meeting of not only the immediate family, but the extended family. There's this big family meeting where they all discuss, what do we do with this boy? He's punished again. And they all decide, look, we're going to keep it within the family. We will deal with it. And that's it. Now, it is said that had the little girls, his little cousin and his little sister, had they been boys, then boys are seen as valuable assets in India and a lot of countries, but they're seen as valuable assets. So he wouldn't have got away with, certainly after his cousin, let alone then his sibling. But because they were girls, and girls are seen as burdens in those countries, in India, let's just say in India, I don't know about the girls are seen, it's said they are seen as burdens. It was just swept under the rug. It's okay. But then when we got to 2007 and he'd admitted to the police about Khushbu, it couldn't be kept quiet anymore because Khushbu's mum wasn't going to stay quiet. She wanted justice for her child. And when it came out that not only had he just kidnapped a baby from the school and murdered her, then the police found out, well, actually, it's not the first time, but we were kind of hoping, you know, after his first and second time, he might have just stopped. He might have got it out of his system. And we did tell him off. We did. We told him off. So, you know, why? So, of course, it was out and about, you know, everyone knew now, you know, all the extended villagers who weren't part of the Sada family all found out, although they had little inklings because his cousin had gone missing. No one spoke about her. The sister went missing. No one spoke about her. You know, it was all hush hush. It was said that some of the villagers that weren't part of the Sada family were maybe thinking, you know, maybe they've had a death in the family. We're not going to ask them about it. It's none of our business. So it was never brought up. It was never spoken about. Crazy. Oh, I just don't know. So, like I say, the police, they were so shocked and they just struggled to think that there was an 8-year-old boy was capable of this, like, savagery like this. But when he'd taken them to Khushbu's shallow grave that he dug. They had to just believe what he was telling them. So, okay. So, how it works in India, minors, anyone basically 17 and below, they can't be sent to prison no matter what they've done wrong. So basically now, a serial killer's status is given to someone with 3, if they've murdered 3 or more people. Okay. Obviously not in one go. That's why it's a serial killer. Mass killers are obviously all at the same time. And because he's now murdered 3 human beings, he's now a serial killer. It doesn't matter there, because anyone 17 or below is considered a minor. They don't go to prison in India. Okay, so he was just sent to a juvenile home and kept on his own for most of the time, by the way. Now, because this was such an unusual case, doctors out there, psychologists, psychiatrists, they all wanted to interview this boy and to see what is going on, what made him do this. Because don't forget, they were so impoverished. I was help with that word earlier. Thank you, Tiff. They had no TVs. They had no internet. There was no media. There was nothing. So it was said, where would he have even got an idea of murder and of what he did? Where would that have come from? So they wanted to study him. And most of them, they all came up with some sort of disorder of some sort. But they basically named him as having a conduct disorder. Now, I don't know about you, I hadn't heard of that. And it's a disorder where you go out of your way to violate the rights of others. And in young children and teenagers, this might show itself as stealing, trying to hurt them, bullying, not murder. It's not normally as far as it will go. But it can show itself in harming animals. So it can progress and escalate into a more severe disorder, like a psychopath, and that's where it can escalate into. But at such a young age, it's called conduct disorder. That's where it starts. And they came to the conclusion that this wasn't it wasn't a nurture type situation. This was a nature type situation. He was born this way. He was just born evil. That's just, he was born that way. And he genuinely, it said, did he realise he was doing wrong, or did he just not care? And it was said he just used to smile, which unnerves me. It really unnerves me, and that's why I called this case the unsettling story of Amarjeet Sada, because to have a child just smiling at you after murdering 2 babies and a young child, that'd be so unnerving. Just have a child smiling at you. Can I have some biscuits and I'll tell you what I've done? Now, how do you even approach that? But we come up to 2017 and Amarjeet turned 18. He was released with a new identity. So he never actually did any prison time. He never really faced any consequences to what he did. Now, I've worked out that he'll be 26 this year. Now, don't forget, I haven't got a month, I haven't got a date. He could already be 26. but he will turn 26 at some point in 2024. But no one knows where he is. Did he go back to his original village and he's being protected by his family? Did he venture off? Did he venture to another country? No one knows. Well, someone knows, but we certainly don't, and I don't. I haven't been able to find anything. There was questions to, had he been abused as a child? I've had that mentioned in a couple of sources, but again, there's no proof of that. There's nothing to say that that actually happened. So we just don't know. But the end thing I got from it was that it was just who he was. There has been, it's called a conspiracy theory. I'm going to throw it up here, although I don't know, but they do say in this conspiracy theory world that it might not have been him, because the bodies, so it's said, the bodies of his little cousin and his little sister were never found. If they were found, the family hid them. And there's questions as to whether he had, maybe it was an older relative who either convinced him to say it was him and that's why he was smiling, or he was there when it happened and that's how he knew so much about the ins and outs of how these children were murdered. That's a conspiracy theory out there, but the legal and everything else position that's held is that Amarjeet Sada is the youngest serial killer in the world, and everyone's sticking to that fact. So I don't know. I think people want to believe perhaps that it was an older relative, because it's just so much for our brains to believe that a child that young could kill another child, not only one but three. You know, it's a lot to get your head round, and that's why I would have really loved to have known a bit more information about him, about his family, about, you know, his very early years, but I just couldn't find anything. It's literally like the family pull a blanket over everything, and we genuinely don't know anything. We never would have known about his cousin and his sister had he not gone on to, you know, do what he did to little Cushbo. So I genuinely don't know much more about it, but what I did find out is that, let me just move myself. What I did find out, now I don't know if you've all heard of a vile case in Delhi in India. I believe it's Delhi. On the 16th of December 2012. I'll do it. I'll round it up very quickly. I haven't actually done this story. It's horrific, and it was the murder of Jyoti Singh. She was 23 years of age, and basically very intelligent girl, doing very well for herself, from a lovely family. She'd gone to the cinema with a male friend of hers. It was apparently just a friend. It wasn't a boyfriend or anything else, just a friend. She was going to college and everything at that point, so she'd moved past the probably the old traditional views of females from in sort of the more probably rural areas within India. So she believed it was perfectly safe to go to the cinema with her friend, and who's a male, and she'd be perfectly fine. And so they went and watched their film. I can't remember the name of the film now. It's the one where it's the the boy on the boat with the lion and something else, but it doesn't end up being the lion, it's the chef or something. Can't think of the film name now. But they'd gone to watch that, and they were getting a bus home, and her and her friend, her male friend, they get on this bus, and when they get on, they notice there's only men on this bus. There's 5 men on the bus. There's one driving, and there's 4 men at the back of the bus. Now, I believe it's just the 5. I could be wrong. I haven't done a lot of research into this story. I'm just aware of the story. And oh, it's horrific though. They basically, Jyoti and her friends sit down. They're left alone for a couple of minutes, and then all of a sudden, these lads start surrounding them and start asking them for everything on them. They basically start robbing them. And when they get everything off them, they drag Josie to the back of the bus. They beat 10 bells out of the lad she's with, so he couldn't do anything. He couldn't even try and help her. There was nothing he could do. And while at the back of the bus, they proceed to gang rape her. But not happy with doing that to her, they were beating her. She was so badly beaten. And then supposedly it was the youngest one of the group, who was 17, had a bar, an iron bar, and they raped her with the bar and pulled her intestines out. Oh, God. Oh, it's a little bit like the story I done. I think it was the last pre-recorded story I did. And she's still alive at this point. Obviously, her male friend's still alive. And they throw them both off the bus. The girls literally falling apart, and they just throw naked off the bus. The male friend, who's very badly hurt himself, manages to struggle, because they were thrown sort of into, if you imagine like a motorway, if you imagine just off it, you know, where there's grass and stuff, and trees, they sort of threw, like an embankment, they sort of threw them onto there. So he manages to drag himself to the road, and eventually someone stops to help him, and he brings them to where Jyoti is, and an ambulance comes and they get her into hospital. She manages to say what was done to her. Her family are by her bedside and everything else, but she ends up succumbing to her injuries, and she does die. Horrific, awful, awful story. Very, very sad. You know, I've watched when her mum's spoken about it, her mum, even 10, I think the last thing I watched, it was 10 years on, so that was 2022. She was still heartbroken. I mean, they were so proud of this girl. She was going to do a lot. I think she wanted to be a doctor or a lawyer. I know she was going to go far. The reason I've spoken about that case is there was so much uproar from the women, mainly of India, because this was, it wasn't a, although it was vicious in what was done to her, it wasn't an unusual thing to happen to females in their country, and they'd had enough. So they protested. There were in hundreds of thousands on the streets, and they wanted these men killed. So I don't know whether it was because of public outcry or whether it would have happened. I don't know. I don't want to say that because I don't know. But what I will say is 4 of the men received a death sentence, and I think they were I think they were eventually hanged, I think a couple of years afterwards. It might have been 2014, 2015. So 4 of them received the death penalty. They have been hanged and tried and hanged, and they're gone. But one of them, do you remember the one I said with the pole? So it said it was him. He was 17. And same as Amarjeet, in India, there's that rule. They can't go to prison if they're under 18, no matter what they've done. So there was a change of law brought in. I think they brought it to about 14 years old. I could be wrong. But what I'm saying is it couldn't be used, I don't know if my word's right, retrospectively. Is that the right word? I think it is. So Amarjeet couldn't have been given any more time, even though he was under that age anyway. And the lad who had been involved in Jyoti Singh's murder, because the law was brought in after the fact, he was released too. And it's just a disgusting case. And like I say, it's been said in Amarjeet's case that there was no uproar because they were little girls. And I've watched the interviews of Jyoti Singh's murderers before they were hung, and oh my God, there was no remorse on them. They basically were just saying, well, what was she doing out? Why was she out on her own at that time of night? I think it was about 9:30 at night. It wasn't late. It wasn't mega late. About 9:30, 10 o'clock on the way home. They weren't going out. They were on their way home. And why was she out on her own? Why was she dressed like that? She wasn't. She was dressed just, I believe, jeans and a jumper. She wasn't. Do you know what? Look at me. Look at me about to justify her dress. I was literally about to do that, but she wasn't dressed in anything provocative. Not that that would matter anyway. I'm just making that point. She was a very respectful girl. She was going, again, what am I saying? I'm not saying that people aren't respectful. You know what I mean? She was dressed very conservatively. She was, she had such a great future ahead of her, and they just destroyed it for kicks, for a laugh, because they didn't believe she should be out on the street at that time. They just, the only, I tell you, the only, not remorse at all, but remorse for her son was one of the perpetrator's mums. And oh my God, she was the same. She's like, my poor son, because of her being out. Why was she out at that time? She should have been in the house. What was she doing with a man out of that? She was justifying what her son had done. And when I say, I'm not on about the 17-year-old boy, I mean, these were grown men. And there was his mum coming out all in defence of him. My boy, this was her fault. Why did she get to do that? And now my boy's going to die. Oh, it's if ever you do, I mean, it's obviously subtitled, but if ever you do want to go in and have a look at that, or you'd like me to do the story in a bit more detail, it's horrific, awful story. But my point was, basically, they did change a law slightly, but it didn't make any difference in the case I've just done for you, or in Jyoti's case. And that was the unsettling story of Amarjeet Sada. Oh, just awful. That was Tiffany's request. I hope I did it okay, sis. I tried to find out everything I could. It's really, really hard to get any information on it. Really, really hard on that one, because there was so... I'm presuming it's the family that have kept everything quite hidden. Exactly why a lot of victim shaming going on with a lot, and it seems it's at females. It seems to be the way. It's very much a man's world over. I'm only going to say India. I don't know about other countries. I'm not going to discuss other countries. But just what I've seen regarding India and these stories that I've done, I'm not saying it's everyone by any means. I'm not saying it's every male over there. I'm just saying it seems to be the culture that's it's given a pass over there. Women, okay, she got her and what. So it just seems to be, from what I've seen, very much it's a culture that they go along with, and it's just, oh, it's one of them things. He had urges, so it's a shame, but whatever. That seems to be very much the attitude, which is it's very, very sad. It's awful. And yeah, and no one knows where Amarjeet Sada is now. I'm assuming, unless he got a lot of help while he was in while he was in a juvenile detention centre. It might not be the last we've heard of this fella, but I don't know. So, thank you all. Thank you. I hope that was, I hope I did it justice for you. I hope it was okay. Like I say, thank you, Phil. Thank you, Warwick. Thanks, sis. Yeah, just very hard finding the information out about it, but I'll just give you what I could. How have we been? How have we getting on? Out the corner of my eye, I've seen you all going back and forth with names. Have you give yourselves names now? Is that what's going on? Thank you, Warwick. I'm glad you wasn't put off at all. I'm glad you've come back. I'd have hated for that to have happened. I love everyone who joins the group on a Tuesday and Thursday. It's so appreciated. I love that you all have a chat in the comments, but also, you're interested in the stories that I bring to you, and it just wouldn't be fun doing this on my own. It wouldn't be. It just makes my evening. And so you haven't changed your names. So we're all sticking to our names. This is good, because I'd have got a bit confused. I would have got a bit confused. It doesn't take much to confuse me. So as I was seeing it going on, I was like, no, I'm not going to remember. I'm going to get it all wrong. But I'm glad. Have we been joined this evening? I haven't noticed. How are we? Have we been joined? But have we all been playing nice this evening? As long as I haven't missed anything or missed anyone. Natalie, I'll definitely have a look at the one for you, but please pop it in the comments for me, because I've already forgotten. I just went up to your name and I was like, Natalie's got one. Okay, that's good. As long as there's been no bickering, because I don't want to have to, smack bums. Don't want to have to do that. So I'm very glad we've all been playing nice this evening. And it's all started again. I can use these now. Oh my God. I get really, really warm. Oh, I'm glad, Phil. I'm glad we've all got on. But yeah, sorry, I've got to try and cool down because we know it is, I think I've got to dudette. I like that. I did say that earlier on. I'll be a dudette. Yeah, I can't have a drink because I've got to put the kids to bed. But I will certainly be chilling out after this. But before then, we have to do the jingle. It's jingle time. See, this is why I start sweating. That's why I start sweating, because it's like this. I don't know where that's from. I don't know where it's from. But if you're watching tomorrow, if you could like, comment, and subscribe, please. Or if you're watching now, please comment. Look at the sweat on there. Look at that. Like, comment, and subscribe. Please, comment, subscribe. Please, jingle. Yes. Look, comment, subscribe, guys. Look at the thing. Do you know, and I was only saying the other day, I have to do my nails because my nails are so close, and I haven't done that one. Oh, and I'm so close. Look, comment, subscribe, guys. I'd really appreciate it. Do you know what I forgot to mention as well? My Patreon. If you're watching tomorrow, why am I not a do that? What? Wow, that's hurt my feelings. That's hurt my feelings. I'm not a dudette. I think I am. I'm a dudette. I can be a dudette if I want to be a dudette. I'll be a dudette. Look, comment, subscribe. But what would I be then? If I'm not a dudette, would I be a dude? Would I be a dude? I know I can. I do give off a certain masculine energy sometimes. I know I do that. So I have to be a dude. I can be a dude. I can be a dude. I don't mind. I don't mind. But look, comment, subscribe. Oh yeah, and if you'd like to join my Patreon, it's Patreon. Private joke. Well, that's not nice. Oh, you could. Well, that's okay. Dudette. Okay, but I can still be a dudette. No, I want to be a dudette. Let me be a dudette. Let me. It's patreon.com/JessRose5472. 5472, isn't it? Oh, it's terrible. Tiffany, I had a look and you can get in. So have a look again because I don't know why it won't let you in. But I think it is 5472. I thought it might be because the J and the R of Jess Rose are in caps, but I tried it without and it does let you in. So I don't know. I don't know why it wasn't letting you in. /5472. No, Jess Rose 5472. See, we've got a couple now. What's this? What is this one? This is new. This is a new one. Look, comment, subscribe, everyone. Have I said bye to everyone? It's Courtney here. I'm sure I seen Courtney earlier. But thank you to Phil and Warwick and Tiff and Natalie and Kelly and Hayley and I seen and Courtney and I seen. Didn't I see Charlotte tonight? And just out of curiosity, has Ariane joined us this evening? Stayed out of it completely. But did she join us this evening? Did she play nice? Just out of curiosity. Let's see, we are. I knew we were all dudes. You're certainly not a dude. Why are you not a dude? Why not? Why not? What would you prefer? What do you want us to call you, Warwick? My mum, she's not here, Phil. Thank you. No, she only pops in for a couple of minutes. If she's here, I'd be really surprised. Are you here, Mum? I don't think she'd be here till the end. I don't even think she's ever seen my jingle, Phil, to be honest. I always tell her to come pop in near the end, but she's never even seen my jingle and she's missing out. She's missing out. She just doesn't. She hasn't been here for that. So, Warwick. Just Warwick. Okay, fine. That's good for me. I can do that, but okay. But you want to call me a dudette? I can be called a dudette. I don't mind. I don't mind. I don't mind. Anything bar an insult, I'm good with, really. But yes, okay. So Thursday or John. Right, okay. Do you know, can I just say that my granddad, I've always known him as Sean, okay? When he passed, I found out his name was John. And apparently it's an Irish thing that we do. So I had an aunt called Sheila. Her name was actually Julie. Apparently there's a lot that's gone on around the families. There was an aunt called Phyllis. I think her name was Philomena. No, it wasn't Phyllis. It was Philomena. I'm making it up now, but those first two I did, and his name was Sean. So if you want to be called John and your name's Warwick, I'm on it because his name was Sean. He was called John. So yeah. I haven't got a new name for me. Right, I'm rambling. But yes, have a fabulous couple of days, and I will see you on Thursday. Yes, I love all the silent watchers too. If you don't never want to join in, that's fine. If you just want to sit and watch this crazy end, that's fine too. I know you're not my granddad. We call my granddad Eric, but his first name was John. See what I mean, Natalie? What is that? So you've got Eric and his name was John. Mine was Sean, and I found out his name was John. didn't even have the same surname. Craziness. I don't know what that was about. It just said, maybe they just, it was like my son though. He decided his name was Frank when he was about 4. I mentioned it on one of the other videos. I had a 4-year-old called Frank at one point. Didn't last long, but yeah. So maybe they'd just come up with these names and decided, and they just took off, and it just started. And then it comes down to the grandkids, and they don't know the real names. Crazy. What was it? I was just going to say something then about my Thursday video. Yes, you did. Yes, you did, sis. Is Sean Irish for John? Someone else said that, and I was a bit like, is it? Is it really? And yeah, I should know that, shouldn't I? So is Sheila Irish for Julie then? Because what was the excuse on that one? I don't know if that's the excuse on that one too. Oh, it is. Stop it, Warwick. Is it really? Oh, there I go. There I go. I can't mock anymore then. I'm mocking. I'm making myself look stupid. Well, there we go. I didn't know that. Did Mum tell us that, sis? I don't know. I just know they all changed their names for some reason. But right, okay. I keep on meaning to tell you what Thursday's story is. Oh, and I can't think of it off the corner. No, it's not. Stop that. No, it's not at all. So it's saying Courtney's Irish for Claire. It's just not. Right, okay. Like, comment, subscribe. Can't think of Thursday's story, so you're just gonna have to join and see. So, but it is a good one. It's one of mine. Natalie's request will be next if she can pop it in the comments. And yes, no, that's quite funny. But yeah, I will see you all on Thursday. Have a fabulous couple of days. You can be called Claire if you want to be called Claire. And I like Sean's. I do like Sean's. So, oh, yours is still going? No, it's not. No, call Jess something. No. I want a different one. You're going to have to call me something else. Yeah, you're going to have to think of different ones. You're going to have to. But yes, I'm going to like, comment, subscribe. And I'll see you all Thursday. And we'll be back. See you all soon. Thank you all so much again. Take care. No, not Julie either. You're going to have to keep thinking. And I'll see you Thursday. Come up with a different one. Like, comment, and subscribe, guys. Take care. Like, comment, subscribe.